Pythagoras is most renowned for his famous theorem that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, the relationship between two sides of a right-angled triangle and its hypotenuse. In early mathematics, his theorem was earth-shattering, but throughout his life he did far more than just the Pythagorean theorem. Pythagoras was born in Samos, which is an island near modern-day Turkey. He traveled to Egypt and Babylon in his early years, where in Egypt he likely learned geometry, astrology, and religion, and in Babylon he likely learned arithmetic and cosmology. After his time of traveling, he settled in Croton and founded his school of religion and social order. This school was high status, and it had highly disciplined community members who were dedicated to philosophy, mathematics, musical theory, science, and mysticism. The members of the community were even called Pythagoreans, as they followed him and his strict social code. Members made a vow of silence for over 5 years before joining. Some have even called it cult-like behavior. It was in this school that Pythagoras developed his most famous theories and conjectures. By using the first geometric proof, Pythagoras was the first to prove the Pythagorean theorem. By making squares with its side lengths of a right triangle, Pythagoras was the first to prove that the area of the square made with the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the two areas of the squares made with the legs of the triangle. In order to be a Pythagorean student, a pentagram must be implemented on the student's hand. The pentagram was a significant shape in Pythagoras' life. This image shows the line segments of the golden ratio. Pink and blue add together to create green, and green and blue add together to create red. When the red line and the green line are compared together, their ratio is 1 to 1.618. That ratio is the golden ratio, which appears throughout all of nature and throughout mathematics. Pythagoras was not the only ancient Greek obsessed with the golden ratio. It's influenced buildings, art, and music, but that's a story for another time. Fun fact, one of Pythagoras' famous theories is that numbers are the essence of all things, and that all numbers are whole. But by using the Pythagorean theorem himself, a student named Hippasus found that the triangle made with side lengths of 1 has a hypotenuse of the square root of 2. That's an irrational number. And because irrational numbers are not whole and they are not able to be represented by a ratio, this disproved Pythagoras' theory. As such, Pythagoras either expelled the student from his school, or some sources even say that Hippasus was drowned as a punishment. Pythagoras is also sometimes called the father of music. By using a string-tied taut, he discovered that a musical octave is a 2-to-1 ratio. That means that when a string is cut in half, half of the string plays the next octave. He also discovers that the fifth is a 3-to-2 ratio and that the fourth is a 4-to-3 ratio. His discoveries would later lead to the developments that invented the harmonic series, which is used throughout all music. The harmonic series describes overtones. The wavelengths of the overtones of a vibrating string are 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, and etc. of the string's fundamental wavelength. Sound is made up with waves, and the harmonic series gives the progression of these waves as their string is shortened. Take a look at this picture. Given a string being cut in half, and then into a third, and into a fourth, and so on, the harmonic series shows that each wavelength will correspond to a number of oscillations. His style of tuning is so famous that it's called Pythagorean tuning. Fun fact, your piano, guitar, or any instrument that plays 8 notes and includes 4 flats or sharps is made with Pythagorean tuning. Pythagoras was not only the guy who discovered the Pythagorean theorem. He revolutionized Western art with his work in the golden ratio, and his music discoveries led to the invention of harmonics and the invention of the 12-note scale. And geometry that that the Greeks used in buildings like the Parthenon. Overall, Pythagoras was a very influential person throughout all of mathematics, and he's a pretty cool guy.